A blissful Hinako heads out of the convenience store, a stack of printed photos of Ichimura in her hands. She's so happy that he decided to stay in their class. That means they can be classmates for 2 more years. She suddenly stops, recalling some very unsightly moments of their second day in class, like the time he saw her candid photo gallery of him and the moment where she tackled a criminal and plunged a knife to the ground to scare him. She wonders, what does Ichimura think of her? Her classmates are surprised, leading to Minori to wonder if she has a crush on Ichimura. Seeing her reaction, Minori continues to prod with one question after another, causing Eiki, her older sister, to tell her to stop. The curious Minori suddenly realizes that all the photos were candid, causing her to ask if she was some sort of stalker. The guilt-ridden Hinako hangs her head in shame and begins to confess that yes, she is a stalker. She has been graphing his daily activities, took notes of his frequently visited locations, and she has also recorded his voice as a lullaby to lull her to sleep. The siblings take a step back, one sibling completely shocked while the other was utterly disgusted. The shameful Hinako agrees, yelling that it must be what Ichimura must be thinking too, that she's disgusting. Lifting her head up, she confesses that she has a massive problem. Always playing innocent, always getting angry at others like she wasn't a criminal herself. Perhaps she was the one causing Ichimura's unease. She can't let this go on any longer. She throws the terrible label weighing her down to the ground, and with her head held up high she proclaims that in order for Ichimura to have a peaceful school life she will change. She will do her best. A proud Eiki rushes to her, giving her a tight hug and patting her head, proudly declaring that Hinako really is the heart of their class. Minori lets out a laugh, quite amused, causing Momoka to wonder. And so Hinako's life of not stalking officially begins. As Tamito rushes to class, Hinako freezes, temptation teasing her already. Because within the small locker lies Ichimura's shoes. A drooling Hinako trembles at the thought, wanting to start every day with a whiff of that scent. But she resists the temptation and runs away with all her might. A delighted Hinako looks on with bliss, thankful for her sitting arrangement. In her seat she has access to an unlimited view of Ichimura's back and the glory of the nape of his neck. The unlimited influx of heavenly pleasure is enough to drive people crazy. She wants to take a photo, gather them into a fat stack and start licking each and every one of them. If she can't do that, then her day will. She suddenly rushes out of the classroom, reminding herself of her promise. As Ichimura leaves the classroom, a distressed Hinako begins to wonder, will he go to the staff room or the washroom, maybe the cafeteria? She wants to know. She wants to stalk him so bad. She wants to be behind him. She's just letting all these precious moments just escape her grasp. What a waste. What a waste, what a waste. The pair of concerned siblings call out to her, but she continues walking, waving goodbye at them. As she walks back home, her mind wanders to her best friend, Sarah Tsukiko, noticing how she's always going back home by herself lately. Maybe she should have told her to wait. Still, a happy Hinako smiles to herself, proud that she was able to hold herself back for the entire day. If this keeps up, maybe Ichimura would hate her less. Suddenly from across the street she spots Ichimura, waving at her. This is bad, she thinks to herself. It's almost as if she's stalking him again. She can't be like that again. She doesn't want to be a stalker. To her shock, a sudden gust of wind flies her licky Ichimura-kun photo away. In a desperate rush she catches up to the photo and grabs it tight. She looks up to see the friendly face of Ichimura, calling out to her. Hinako, wide-eyed and shaking, can only accept that she has been found out. They walk back together, Tamito explaining that the direction he was walking to was closed off due to an accident. The girl is relieved, looks like she was worrying over nothing after all. Suddenly the boy stops in his tracks, remembering something he wants to talk to her about. Hinako begins to sweat, dreading what he has to say. Thank you. The boy continues, explaining that because of her he can return back to their class. A nervous Hinako reassures him that she didn't do anything. Rather, she's more like some nuisance that follows him around. She apologizes, accepting that he probably hates her. Tamito replies, still weirded out by having a stalker, but ever since she confessed that she wanted to be his friend, the idea gradually became more acceptable to him. He confesses that he also wants to be good friends with her too. He waves goodbye to her, promising to see her on Monday. As she stuffs her happy face with tears in her eyes, she proclaims that she'll stalk him forever, for the rest of her life. She yells with a force that rocks her house, revolted, horrified, repulsed, disgusted at herself. A confident Minori explains, "It's just not possible, no one can just say, 'I'll stop,' and suddenly just stop being a criminal." The day after school, he stumbled upon a side of Sarah-san that he shouldn't have seen. He heads off with quick steps, remembering that he's on day duty today. An annoyed Sarah falls to the pavement, the contents of her school bag spilling on the ground. A nervous Tamito apologizes, rushing to help her pick her stuff back up, causing a flustered Sarah to tell him to stop. He looks at the CD curiously, surprised. With a delighted smile he asks her all about it, hoping to break the ice. Once again he finds himself running for his life after another encounter with his hitman classmate. The girl's attention turns to a familiar voice. With a handheld camera, a sweating and disheveled Hinako rushes to her, reminding her to not fire on the boy. Sarah apologizes, admitting that the boy was messing up her spirit. A distressed Hinako notes that if these things happen again, Ichimura might really start hating their class again. She sprints away, promising herself to be more careful while encouraging her best friend to do the same. Hinako catches up to the fleeing boy, apologizing about her childhood friend. He greets her good morning and is a bit embarrassed that she saw the whole thing. A nervous Hinako shrinks, asking if he'll still come to school, and Tamito eagerly agrees, because he wants to be in the same class with her. A steaming hot Hinako erupts, in disbelief at his beautiful smile and desiring to eat his underwear. Ichimura continues, noting that Sarah was really scary after all. The girl rushes to defend her childhood friend, proclaiming that she really is a nice person. Hinako continues, telling him that whenever she's sick she would come and look after her, she would also help her catch up with lessons too on top of that, and also she gives her cute candies. Ichimura laughs, noting that Sarah is so nice because they're great friends. Suddenly, he comes to a realization. He decides that he'll become friends with Sarah too. He comes to the conclusion that if they become friends, she wouldn't want to kill him anymore. But the boy hangs his head down with a pained smile. If he knew how to make friends, then he wouldn't be so lonely for so many years. How does one make friends? How to get on Sarah-chan's good side. An enthusiastic Eiki tells him that she's in the same club as her, so he could try that. Minori tells him that it seems like she's into Western music cause they talk about it a lot. While Yasuo explains that he's been getting more contact with her ever since he started asking her about her 3 sizes and underwear color. Finally he asks Momoka, and she tells him about how she saw Tsukiko heading to an empty audio-visual room after school alone. She tells him that it was a nice opportunity to push her down, but Tsukiko was really strong, a real fight for the ages, but it ended up in a draw. A delighted Momoka recalls, saying that ever since then an unbelievable friendship blossomed between them. Hinako and Tamito walk home together, still talking about Sarah. He explains that everyone had their own special ways to get closer to her. She suggests that hobbies would be a nice way of getting on her good side, causing him to give it some thought. Suddenly he recalls that Sarah has always been carrying a guitar case, prompting him to ask Hinako if Sarah was in some band or something. She explains that Sarah puts her tools for her job inside, causing him to be taken aback. A hesitant Tamito asks her if Sarah's job was indeed a hitman like he suspected. Hinako nods, explaining that Sarah's bloodline goes all the way back to the assassins from medieval England, causing Tamito to dread even more. He didn't know she was that hardcore. But she continues, telling him that Tsukiko wanted to quit her job, causing him to ask why. As Hinako recalls, she simply stated that she just wanted to change her career. Tamito begins to wonder, what career does Sarah want? Hinako replies that although she asked before, she never told her. Suddenly, Tamito's eyes spot her gym bag hanging on her wrist. Tamito begins to sprint back to school, apologizing, explaining that he left his gym uniform in the classroom, waving at her and telling her that he'll see her tomorrow. Had this been the usual Hinako, she would have definitely taken out her camera, drooling while stalking Tamito. However, Hinako is depressed. Not because Tamito is not accompanying her home, but the regret of being unable to collect Tamito's worn gym uniform. Soon afterwards, her regret was replaced by despair. Amidst the dancing cherry blossom petals, her wanly lit stalker life force extinguishes by the breeze. With his gym bag in hand, Tamito once again heads out. But as he sees Sarah sneaking around, he decides to follow her. Since she likes Western music, maybe she's in the light music club. So that must mean what's inside her case must be a guitar. He spots an infrared sensor leading him to ask if she was wary of people. Then he remembers Momoka. Seeing the laser sensor scattered around like cobwebs, he realizes that maybe he should just head back. Suddenly the halls echo with music. He begins to wonder if she was practicing her guitar. Maybe the career Sarah wants is a guitarist. That day after school, he stumbled upon a side of Sarah that he shouldn't have seen.